So the first one we'll talk about is the good old DEP. And the DEP is the Delayed Entry Program. Now what the DEP is, today, quite a few people enlist into the DEP. And what that is that a recruiter may be talking to a kid and saying, hey, you should join, here are these opportunities. And the soldier, the potential soldier might be saying, well, I don't know about that. Well, the recruiter can say, well, I'll tell you what, we can hook you up with this bonus. And not only that, you don't need to go to basic training until 6 months later. So you can have fun this summer, have a good time. 6 months from now, you go to basic training. That sounds great. So they sign on the dotted line. And then, though, over the summer, the potential soldier starts having questions. I don't know if I want to do this. And they talk to the recruiter and says, I want out. And the recruiter says, oh, you've already signed your enlistment contract. You're stuck. Well, this is what the truth of the DEP is that it's very easy to get out of the DEP. And basically, what we're thinking about is the DEP is you really have two key points in the timeline. The first one is the first contract. This is your entry into the DEP. And basically what that says is that you are agreeing to show up at basic training at a later point in time. You're required to check in with your recruiter every so often. And basically during this time period, the recruiter, what they're doing is trying to keep selling you in the military because they know that you could still back out. So they're going to take you out to for pizza. They're going to give you fun things to do. They're going to teach you the Army Creed, and they're going to have physical fitness stuff, and just basically try to keep you plugged in and try to keep checking in on you. And basically what the military's goal is to make sure you show up at MEPS. And MEP stands for Military Entrance Processing Station, I think. And basically, at this point, you're only sort of kind of obligated. At this point, you're for real in the Army, active duty. And basically, you sign a contract here, but you're going to sign another contract here, and you're going to take a second oath here. In fact, I hope I have it with me. Oh shoot, I don't. Robin Long actually gave me a copy of a card his recruiter gave him when he entered into the Delayed Entry Program, and it makes it sound like an official Army oath. It says, "I promise to, to show up at MEPS, and I promise to help my recruiter with hometown recruiting and all this." And it's really interesting. And another thing, I think the regs that talk about the Delayed Entry Program, they encourage the recruiter to give the soldiers certificates and awards for things they do during this time period for being a good hometown recruiter. It stands for Military Entrance Processing Station. And basically, MEPS is where a soldier, and also bear in mind, most of this monitors with the Army. Other branches may have slightly different terminology, so if you're dealing with another branch, as far as the DEP, I believe it's the same for all branches, but the terminology may be different. So, but MEPS basically, go ahead.
Yeah, the MEPS has all 5 branches in Denver. The same MEPS station is for all 5 branches. So
okay. When
you go to MEPS, you'll sit next to possible Marines, Navy, Air Force.
Excellent. Also, I can tell you about MEPS. Usually what they do the night before you actually report, they have you stay in a hotel. And basically it's so that you won't, if you start having second thoughts, you're there, away from your parents, away from people. I've always thought a great approach for some activism would be visiting that hotel on a regular basis, happening to read literature there. We've done a little bit of that in Oklahoma City. I actually had the night of the bar exam where I took the bar. I went and stayed in that hotel where they were giving the test, so I'd just be there on site. Turns out the same place that MEPS was at, or the hotel they stay at before MEPS. So it was so surreal. Here are all these potential bar applicants, and then here are these kids about to go in the Army. It just was quite surreal. But anyway, in this time period, the good news is recruiters, the regs say that they're not allowed to make threats of jail time, they're not allowed to make threats about their credit rating, all kinds of. The truth is, the reason those regs are there is because recruiters do that. They'll say, it's a federal offense not to report to MEPS. They'll tell them that it'll ruin your credit forever. And you think that actually happens. They'll tell them all kinds of horrible things, that you're going to get a dishonorable discharge and be marked for life. The truth is, if you don't show up for MEPS, what happens? You get kicked out of the Army with an uncharacterized entry-level separation. It's as if you were never in the Army at all, for the most part. So basically, if you're talking to a kid who's in the DEP and he wants out, one way of doing it is just not to show up at MEPS. Second approach is, if you want the recruiter to get off his back, help the soldier to write a letter saying, I'm choosing to exercise my right to leave the delayed entry program, and here's why. State the reasons, and then say, I do not want to talk to you anymore. I will not talk to you anymore. If you have any further questions, you can contact my pastor or my GI rights counselor or whoever. Give them someone else to contact, sign it, date it, and send that to the recruiter. Basically, what you want to do is cut off that kid from the recruiter so that the recruiter won't have to, because the recruiter is going to tell them all kinds of lies. But if the recruiter does do that, then there's a regulation, it's U.S. Army Recruiting Command regulation, and I can look that up for y'all if you need it down the road. But it's online, and you can show that to the recruiter and say, yeah, you need to back off. The regulations are really clear here. You need to leave him alone. He's out. Leave him alone. I also say to be on the safe side, though, given how persistent these recruiters are. I always encourage people who want to leave the DEP, make sure you're not where the recruiters know where you're at on next day. Go stay with a friend. Go stay with grandma. But the recruiters are going to come to your house. They're going to threaten you. I've seen recruiters sometimes get their buddies in the police department to come down off duty and to go with them to the kid's house just to scare the crap out of them. It's wrong as all get out, but it does happen. And the good news is this is an easy thing that anybody can help someone. If they want out of the maps, they can don't show up at maps, and they're out.